Hi, I'm Jill Clifton of landscapeofmothers.com. I wanted to talk today about why parenting is so hard, which is a really big topic, and I'm going to probably parse this into several different videos. And I'm assuming I'm not the only mom who works in your car sometimes when things are busy in the house or whatever. So sorry, we got a lot going on today, and so I'm out in the car. I think obviously parenting is just challenging. It's there's so many pieces to it. There's so many ages. There's so many capabilities. There's so many moments, events, all the things, right, that make it difficult. But what I really want to get at here is, if we're wanting it to be easier, what is the problem that we're facing? And I think Landscape of Mothers was specifically designed, not by me, kind of by muse or creativity. I just feel like I was the one who wrote it down. But Landscape of Mothers has this capability of addressing specifically, I think, the way that parenting is difficult because we want to do it differently than the way that we were raised, right? So for people who were raised in whatever way, I was a child of the 1970s and 1980s, and there was a lot of I grew up with a single mother, and there was a lot of A, freedom, and B, lack of oversight in some ways. It was really baked in, though, to the age group that they were, because I also saw that a lot in my teachers and my, so it wasn't just, I'm not blaming my family. It was a cultural thing at the time that there was a lot of freedom. It meant there wasn't a lot of oversight. It meant that things could happen that were undesirable at best, right? And at worst, some of that culture it was based in punitive actions. It was based in punishment and compliance. And at least for me, being the person that I was, that was really hard on my sense of self. And other circumstances added to that. And so, but what I'm saying is, even no matter our circumstances, we were raised by a general culture that offered up measures of compliance and then punishment if they weren't met. Maybe your household was different. But that's what the culture was like. And so whether we got that at home or whether we got it at school or both, or we got it at church, all of those places were formative for us. And so we may have learned things in those places and from those caregivers that we had, and that were not things that we now as grown adults have values for. And we may be parenting now from a place of saying, well, I want to do it different because certain things about the culture that I was raised in don't fit for me. They're not what I want to pass on. That's not how I want to do it. So the problems that we run into there are really that we don't have the skills, because we had to develop a whole other set of skills for dealing with the culture that we were raised in. And so sometimes we do need skills and tools and things like that. And we can often find those in parenting books. We can find a parenting style that's being taught that we resonate with, and we can find a lot of those tools and methods there. The other thing though is that parenting is more than our skills and tools. A lot of our social interaction and the ways that we learn things come from our nervous systems and come from the people that we hang out with on a regular basis. And we learn to model our own nervous systems on those people. So if you had an extremely anxious parent or a depressed parent or a parent with any mental health problems or you had or your parents went through a divorce and it was super hard for one or more of your parents in a way that was directly communicated to you. Any of those things can be along those lines where our nervous systems get mapped to the nervous systems of our caregivers. And that can also cause some of the difficulty in our parenting, so that now we're raising kids, and when certain situations come up, they can be incredibly difficult just in a nervous system sense. And we may not be able to know, we may not like have a story or totally understand why that feels so hard, right? There's actually a third thing, which is that we are still living in a culture that has prescriptive, very clear ideas about what mothering should look like and what that is. There's a lot of judgment still inside of our cultural assessment of mothers, mommy wars. So anybody who knows that phrase, just know that you are inside of a culture that's critical and still based in conformity and the idea that there's one right way and things like that. So our cultural state of being around motherhood is still also problematic. There's still a relatively clear prescription that mothers are the ones who sacrifice. Mothers are the ones who get the emotional and mental labor, and maybe a lot of the home and domestic labor. So women, motherhood isn't well supported. It is not well connected in general in our culture. And so that's just another place where these things compound with each other. And when we get to this place where it feels really hard, and the cultural prescription says, if it feels really hard, you must not be doing a good job. That place is where then it becomes a very personal thing, right? And there's no parenting book for this. There's no parenting book that tells you how to get out of that kind of hard, right? So parenting is hard in a lot of ways. I am not naming them all. I'm telling you that these are the ones that for me were really important and formative for me in my parenting, and they are also really formative for Landscape of Mothers. And Landscape of Mothers has things in it to address these kinds of how parenting is hard. So if you're struggling, know that you're not alone, because this is some of this is a cultural prescription problem. B, know that even if you can't define it, it doesn't mean it's not difficult. And know that that there are resources for you, even if you've done all of the parenting books and tried to figure out the parenting strategies and tried to go with those systems, and it hasn't felt like it's been easy for you to implement. My guess is that you're missing some of the skills and awarenesses that are involved in the nervous system part of trying to do the relationship with your children or your household members. That's where we tend to get that bit of where it gets so hard because we feel like we're doing the right thing, but our nervous systems haven't yet got to that capability or to that place. And so there's a disparity kind of between the skills and the rubric that we can use to know what we're doing or to do it well, and then the nervous system alignment. And so that's one of those places that can start to feel like a disconnect, and it can make things feel harder. So I feel like I'm kind of rambling a bit, so I want to stop this video. I'm totally happy to hear any of your thoughts or questions or points that hit as a clarity, points that were what tell me more about that, or what about this, or whatever. I think this is a really important conversation that needs to be had around caregiving and parenting and motherhood in particular. And so I would love to hear what you have to say about it, what's on your heart and what's on your mind. So you can put a question below. You can send me an email through my website, landscapeofmothers.com. You can read the book. It's available on Amazon and bookshop.org and pretty much anywhere that you can get books online. And also some of the other YouTube videos, if you're thinking like, there's something here, but I'm not totally sure what I think yet. There's a lot of other Landscape of Mothers videos, and I would encourage you to start with, there's an intro series that kind of tells you a little bit about working with Landscape of Mothers. So thanks for being here.